Well, based on our experience, the most important is never agree to occupation. You know, during times of negotiations, there were different moments and different messages which I was receiving from Western colleagues. And one of them was that you have to take into account the reality. Azerbaijan lost the first Karabakh war, and your, actions must be based on the reality. There have been attempts to, advise us that we need to consider issue related to our territorial integrity. And I was always saying no. I was saying that never Azerbaijan, myself and the people of Azerbaijan will agree to create another Armenian fake state on our territory, never. If necessary, we will fight until the death. And my comments sometimes were interpreted as very hostile, aggressive. I was always criticized for rhetorics. Armenian leaders always were praised for being constructive. Yes, they were constructive. They wanted to seal the occupation. They wanted us to agree to give independence to separatists in Nagorno-Karabakh. They wanted to keep big part of our territory, particularly territory between former Nagorno-Karabakh autonomous oblast and Armenia under their control. And my position was no, we will never agree. So first, based on our experience, is never agree on violation of territorial integrity in any case. Second, what lesson I learned from this time of occupation, to rely on your own resources. Third, do not rely on international organizations' decisions and resolutions. They don't have any value. The UN Security Council adopted 4 resolutions demanding withdrawal of Armenian troops, complete and immediate, from our territories, which were not implemented for 27 years. We implemented them themselves. And those who adopted those resolutions, 3 countries, permanent members of Security Council, were co-chairs of the Minsk group. And I was telling also them, why don't you implement resolutions which you adopted? And the answer was obvious. The situation with occupation was acceptable to them. It was acceptable to Armenia, it was acceptable to Minsk group co-chairs, it was not acceptable to us. And we were minority. And we had to live in the real world and understand that there'll be no help from international community. I'm talking now not about situation in Ukraine, it's a little bit different in this respect, but about us. And of course, we needed to have strong army, but for that we needed strong economy. So everything was done consequently, one after another or sometimes in parallel. And we needed new generation of those who will go until the death to defend their homeland. And that generation was raised. And those who fought and died for Karabakh, absolute majority of them have never seen Karabakh. The young generation, patriotic, with high motivation. Of course, the most important is to have strong army, and we did it. And that was #1 for me as president for all years. That's why our military spendings were #1 in comparison with other. #2 was education. But that was also important, because without that, you will not raise patriotic people who will go and return the lands back. And of course, the high motivation. We were motivated, we were ready to go until the end, regardless who will be on Armenian side. And we recognized that there'll be a lot on Armenian side. And it happened, but it did not stop us. And during the war, I was saying that I'm ready to stop publicly many times when Armenian Prime Minister gives me a timetable for withdrawal. We didn't want this war. And we fought on our territory. And he always refused. But when he agreed on 9 November to give us a date to, that was already after we liberated Shusha, then we stopped. We did not fight any extra hour because we didn't want people to die. And we liberated the rest part based on the Capitulation Act. So that's how we fought, how we prepared. And if you ask me what is the most important among all of them, I would say absolutely confident it is a spirit. This is the most important. You will never win a country or people who have a spirit to defend themselves. It can be only temporary. And we demonstrated it, and now we are proud of that. And we support territorial integrity of Ukraine, of all other countries. Do it publicly. Do not hide behind the big trees. We say what we mean. Yes, we have good relations with Russia. But with Ukraine, we also have good relations. And the principles of international law should not be interpreted based on political preferences. We were always a subject of that because even before events in Ukraine, always territorial integrity of Georgia and Moldova always was articulated very openly by international community. And when it came to us, always there was a message, go and agree peacefully. But how to agree peacefully with aggressor who don't want to leave your territory? We tried, and I tried for almost 17 years. But then we saw it's not possible. And then we saw that the more we want to do it peacefully, the more aggressor becomes more arrogant and aggressive. And they already started to frighten us with new war for new territories and saying things like Karabakh is Armenia. But now what they say? Now they say Karabakh is Azerbaijan. And who says that? The same people who said Karabakh is Armenia in 2019. We created new reality with our own, how to say, hands and with our soul. So that's what we experienced, and I think it's important for every country, for dignity, for territorial integrity, and for justice.